Greetings, folks, and welcome to today's show. We want to talk about transportation, particularly roads and a little bit on rail. We won't try to get into air and water and things like that for this session. And we're looking at it from a national standpoint. A lot of the numbers are national, but of course they apply to Tennessee, and we're part of the national system, so it all goes together. And we have with us today one of our resident experts, and that's Senator Jim Tracy, who you will remember resides in Shelbyville. He's been in the Senate and head of the Senate Transportation Committee for 8 years. 8 years, and still is today, and has 2 more years on your current term. And so what happens then?
Plan on running for re-election, 14th district.
To the 14th district. You're going to run for re-election to the Senate.
Yes, sir.
All right. I won't ask you about that other question then. Okay. Well, we want to talk some about personal travel and the shipment of goods, and those things are not only important to us individually, they're important to our basic economic needs. And you know, the question is, we don't think much about it, you know, but unless the goods stopped arriving at the store or the drugstore or something, then it would get our attention. And it may come to that one of these days. We need 40, 50,000 more drivers. That's an incredible number. And so anyway, looks like we got, we're all aware that it's getting more crowded and there's more frustration and spending more time tied up in traffic. So we got a lot to talk about, and let's take a short commercial break, and we'll do that.
The highest standard of trust offers a sense of safety and comfort. It's established over time. You know when you see it. You know when you feel it. There's a standard of trust in healthcare. It's the Joint Commission Gold Seal of Approval. In 2003, Life Care Center of Tullahoma voluntarily achieved this accreditation and maintains it still today. Life Care, meeting a higher standard because residents matter most.
Let the Smokehouse be your mountain getaway destination in beautiful Monteagle, Tennessee. Enjoy our cabins, restaurant, and old general store. Shop thesmokehouse.com, featuring homemade barbecue sauces, jellies, and many other fine Tennessee products. Our live Music on the Mountain series features some of the best local and Nashville talent every Friday and Saturday night, 6:30 p.m. No cover, kids welcome.
We're back, folks, and we're talking today about transportation needs. A lot of our numbers are coming out of the federal system, but they're nevertheless, I'm sure you'll recognize or reflect what the situation is in Tennessee to a large degree. So, as I said, we've had a situation where the shipping requirements over the last 10 to 20 years have skyrocketed. They've gone through the roof. We have, I was surprised that 80%, somebody said, of our products that we use at home or at work are delivered by truck. And in Tennessee, I think it's even worse than that. I saw another number that said something like 95% of the counties in Tennessee are totally dependent on truck. There's no rail service there. So the trucks run, you get your goods, and if they don't, you're in trouble. We all know that congestion is getting a whole lot worse. We had somebody else came up with another wild number that said that over the country every year we spend 600,000 years stuck in traffic somewhere. And looked at it in any rational way, that's that's kind of tragic. That's a big loss when you get right down to it all the way around. So, and we're not building any new highways, and we've still got a bunch of bridges that are compromised, and so again, somebody else came up with another number that says we need to double our spending for the next 50 years in order to catch up. And we're always hearing that the Highway Trust Fund is teetering on the edge of bankruptcy. So what's the answer? Where's all this going?
Well, you know, let me say the good things about Tennessee, and a lot of folks may not realize how good we have it in Tennessee. Our Department of Transportation in Tennessee, Tom, is one of the best in the country. We have no debt on our roads. We pay as we go. People, as you said in your information there, really take for granted our roads. Roads are very important to every county. We have 95 counties in Tennessee. They're very important to every county because roads are so important to bring products in and out. You got to have good roads, good infrastructure to have the products to get in and out. And so in Tennessee, we pay as we go. The last time there was a funding bill in Tennessee was 1986. And just so your viewers know, when they go home today, if they're out and they're going to fill up with gas and you fill up with gas, 21.4 cents of that money goes into the transportation fund in Tennessee. And that money's used for transportation uses across the board. I mean, some of that money will come down to your local county road departments to help them fund their roads. But people take for granted their roads. You know, I drive on roads every day, and I put probably over 30 to 40,000 miles a year on a vehicle every day traveling. And you talked about the time spent in traffic, sitting there, and when not only are we as individuals, but the trucks that are moving products in and out are sitting there, and that causes the cost of the products to go up because they're spending more fuel. So that's why.
Not only that, it's also a penalty on the driver. He gets paid by the mile if he's sitting in traffic. You know,
that's true.
He's not making a nickel.
So that's why you see us trying right now on I-24. If you travel to Nashville quite a bit, like I do, it really bottlenecks on the other side of Laverne, and it starts really tightening up in the mornings or in the afternoons coming home. I-65 now, we're widening I-65 just south of Franklin now going into Nashville because of that, and that will help better. But transportation funding and transportation is so important to Tennessee and important to the nation. And with the 21.4 cents a gallon, and the cars are much more fuel efficient today than they were in 1986, so our revenue has gone down. And you've talked about with the growth in Tennessee, we have the population growth coming into Tennessee. Industries wanting to move to Tennessee, but we've got to, if we want to have good jobs and we want to have good infrastructure, and we got to do that, we got to fund it, and we got to pay for it, and we're doing that. So
well, how do you stand road-wise? I mean, have you got a backlog of new construction that you'd like to do?
There's a tremendous backlog. I mean, we probably, without going into details, we have tremendous backlog from Memphis to Bristol, you know, of communities needing roads to move, so we can move products in and out, and there's a tremendous backlog, but we have to pay them as we go, and then we prioritize the roads. We have a good program across the state, how we prioritize roads. So we're very proud of where we are. I mean, this is my 8th year as chairman of the committee. I've been very proud of what we've done in Tennessee. Now, as we grow, as you pointed out, and our bridges are real important, I will say that for the most part in Tennessee, our folks do a great job inspecting the bridges to make sure they're safe and refurbish them if they need to be refurbished. And but as growth goes, as more traffic goes, the more you travel, the more you wear down the roads, the more you wear down the bridges, and we have to continually upgrade and resurface bridges and roads. We have a plan on our roads where we resurface every so many years with asphalt. And the cost of goods to do roads, Tom, has gone up quite a bit in the last 20 years, where the cost of gravel's gone up, cost of The petroleum products have gone up to make asphalt, and so that's cost roads. Let me say this too, we have great contractors, many of them right here in this area, road contractors that do a great job building our roads. So we're very proud of that. Now also with TDOT, we also look at rail. Rail's important to us, and we oversee rail. We also oversee our waterways in Tennessee, the barges and so forth, and aviation. All our airports. We have great airports, large and small Tennessee, and it's funded through the aviation fuel tax is how we fuel that.
Is it the same as, well, no?
No, it's a 4% sales tax on fuel. So for those of you that are pilots that go and fill up your fuel, fill up your planes, and we're glad to have people in from other states to do that. It's 4%, and that money goes right back into the aviation, and that's one of the reasons we do such a great job with our airports. It goes right back into our local airports.
Yeah, we enjoy having visitors and getting to fill up their tanks here
we love
at Tullahoma's
it. Yeah,
Airport.
that's exactly right.
Absolutely. You have a tremendous backlog. What are we going to do about that? And talk a little bit also about the difference between the funding that goes straight to the state, and then the feds provide you a chunk as well. Do
it's an interesting process. Basically, that money filters through the feds and it comes back to the state. So we pretty much get dollar for dollar back. Whatever
of the
dollar
21 cents.
Yes, sir. Whatever money we send to the feds, it comes back to us pretty much dollar for dollar. And
what about the 18 cents?
And now that 18 cents that goes to the Federal Department of Transportation is used for other purposes. We don't get it. We only get what we put in, and it circulates back through, I call it.
What do they do with it? What do they do?
We do get some of it. And like your interstate highways are federal highways. You have the Natchez Trace Parkway that goes through Tennessee, and they will circulate some of that money back through us, that's correct. But what money we collect in the state of Tennessee does come right back for our citizens in Tennessee.
Okay. Well, of course, interstates is well, I don't know whether that's where most of the money goes or not. Maybe it doesn't. Another thing people don't quite appreciate, you mentioned that a little bit ago, is that a large chunk of the money goes for maintenance.
Oh yeah,
resurfacing and keeping them up. And by the way, I want to say that I think we can all be proud of the condition that we keep our roads in. And you really see that dramatically every time you cross the state line, and it doesn't make any difference which direction you're going. As soon as you cross the straight line, your roads are not as good. So
no doubt about that. And I travel quite a bit, and you're right. We have a good program where we resurface ever so often, and everything's on a schedule to do that. But that takes money to do. And you know, I remind folks, I speak to a lot of groups over the years, and remind our citizens that don't take our roads for granted. And a lot of work goes in to make sure they do that. And let's talk a little bit about, Tom, a lot of folks are frustrated just like I am. And I think we would like to build roads at a quicker pace. If we're going to build a new road, say from Tullahoma, right now they're working on 41 from Tullahoma to Shelbyville. They're widening it.
Right.
Well, it takes a lot of time to do that, and I get very frustrated when you have to deal with utility issues. For example, if they're moving utility poles, and you have to deal with buying right away, you have to deal with environmental issues, you have to deal with engineering costs. All that takes time. I'd like to see it done.
And money.
And money to do that. So we feel like in Tennessee we need to speed that process up. Right now I think the average time is 12, 13 years from start to scratch to build a new road. I'd like to see it, our goal is to get it down to about 8 years, because you know it takes a long time to buy right away when you're negotiating with property owners throughout the process.
And the environmental processes added another complexity to it, so. Well, okay. We could go on, and we will go on some, folks, but first we need to take a short commercial break.
The Russell Barnett Automotive family has come up with a new challenge. Purchase a car from one of our 5 locations: Russell Barnett Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Chevrolet, GMC, and Ford of Winchester, or Russell Barnett Ford and Kia of Tullahoma, and we will donate $100 to the ALS Foundation or Parkinson's Foundation. The Parkinson's Foundation is a pie in the face. The ALS Foundation is a Ice Bucket Challenge. Yeah, that's for you. $100. Come on down to Russell Barnett Automotive family.
Grill 'em at Gillum's, Tullahoma.
A salute to the never wasters, the coupon clippers, switch flippers, one last drop of milk drippers, the thoughtfully thrifty, and the just plain cheap. Charter respects your economic IQ and honors it with a phone service worthy of your ever-watchful wallet. Charter Phone, just $19.99 a month. For real monthly savings for fabulously frugal folks like you. Switch to Charter Phone and get unlimited local and long distance and 13 calling features with no extra fees like the phone company charges you.
I'm meteorologist Leland Statham from the News Channel 5 Weather Center. Look to Jim Fuller and crew for local news night here on Channel 6.
We're back, folks, and we're talking today about the national and state transportation situation, and both the good and the bad, and actually the needs are critical in front of us. We have forecasts that say that really, in order for us to catch up and do the job we'd like to do on roads, that we need to double the amount of money we're spending for the next 50 years in order to catch up. Now, that's a phenomenal number, and maybe totally unrealistic. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I don't know how realistic, but one thing I will tell you, right now we cannot count on the federal government. Right now they have sort of kicked the can down the road. They did pass what I call a Band-Aid approach. They passed a funding bill for transportation through May, which is, that at least gives us a little bit, but long term, we really need the federal government to do a 6-year plan. That's what they really need to do, a 6-year transportation bill, so we know long term. Statewide, we have a 3-year plan for roads.
By that you mean they need to do the funding over a 6-year period.
Yes, sir.
You can't handle this year to year.
Well, because it makes our job at the state, our TDOT's job, to determine what roads to build and how much money we're going to have. It's very uncertain. In the past, we've appropriated money and they've rescinded money back from the state. I know they've rescinded over $100 million or something like that. I mean, a lot of money over the years, where I've never seen us budget money and then federal government comes in and takes it away. So we need the federal government to come up with a 6-year funding plan. Then in the process, we have Tennessee Department of Transportation. We do a 3-year plan for roads. We'll do a 5-year plan, we'll do a 10-year plan, 20-year plan, and we project this through population growth. A good example, we were talking off air there that Rutherford County is projected to be in 2025 600,000 population. From right now we're about 250.
250, yeah.
So we're going to more than double in less than 11 years. That's the projection. And so you can imagine right now, look at the traffic that's on I-24 now, and project what that's going to be like in 10 years when the population more than doubles.
Yeah, and it's same thing's true around the Nashville area, I'm sure, because the more and more companies are coming in and more are locating in that area, and of course that's good from a job standpoint. But we do have to be able to take care of them, don't we?
Yes, sir, and the challenge is there for us. So I think the thing for us at the state level, we need to look for solutions and to handle this situation. We're going to look, we have a good staff that starts looking at this, and we cannot count on the federal government, I don't think, to come in and propose a plan to help us. We're going to have to plan ourselves down the road and look to this. And I think we need to do a good job of communicating to our citizens across the state, you know, what their money goes for when they fill up with gas, and how we fund our roads and how it's done. And I think the folks that I talk to and remind them how important it is, and we're going to continue to try to do that.
Well, sure, and it is vitally important. We're dependent on it, really. Well, what does you know, every now and then you see, I noticed the federal government talked about trying to get some money out of by a tax reform at the federal level, a tax reform, and they were going to take some of the money and put it over into roads, into transportation. I don't see if that makes any sense. There's some simple-minded approach like mine, I guess, that says the users ought to pay the bill.
Absolutely, and that's really the way we do it in Tennessee. It's a user fee, really, because I give an example. For me, I travel 35,000, 40,000 miles a year, so I'm spending a lot more money on gasoline, so that money goes into the road fund, where a person that maybe goes to church on Sunday and goes to the grocery store and that's about it, they're not traveling as much, but they're not spending as much either. So the more wear and tear you do on the roads, the more you're going to spend. Your truckers, you know, they're putting a lot of miles on the roads. They're filling up with diesel fuel. The next coming thing is going to be liquid natural gas that the big trucks are going to be using. We do have some companies right now beginning to switch over to liquid natural gas, and they're going to be using more of the roads, so therefore they're going to have to pay for the, you know, the maintenance of the roads because they're working on the roads. We have electric cars right now. Not as many as they're going to be in a couple of years, but you know, how the electric cars, and like you said, it should be a use fee.
We've got one in the office. So, okay, well, tell you what, let's switch and talk a little bit about rail. And I'm curious, first of all, about how much the state has to say about rail. I would think that's primarily a federal domain. Unscramble that for us.
It is primarily a federal domain. They do have the feds do have an inspection program to inspect the rails to make sure they're safe, you know, a safety program. We do have short line railroads in Tennessee, and those are very, very important. We have some right here in my area, in my district, where the short line railroads can move product. They pick up product at a manufacturing location and move those products out to a long range railroad. So yeah, but primarily it's a federal program, but we do have something to do with it at the state level, and it's important. I hear from folks in my district quite often if a train's not moving through their community quick enough or too quick. You know, if they think they're traveling too fast.
Too fast, and they're getting longer, much longer. Much longer. Tying up the intersections more.
I hear from folks in my district on that, and but the rail is very important. And I think you're going to see we're looking at long-range plans right now in Tennessee to utilize rail more. And we're working on studying that right now. I think we passed legislation last year dealing with rail across the state of Tennessee to move products in and out, and that'll help our growth. That'll help industry. Some industry really require rail. They like rail because they can move the products in and out quick. Many times industry will still need your long haul trucks because they will move that. Sometimes they'll have to load the trucks to move them to the rail.
Well, we talk about not building roads fast enough, but we build rail even less fast. That is terrifically expensive, and it just isn't happening much. So.
Not happening much. It's a big challenge. I'm sure when you're building rail, you're having to go through property and buy property and right away to build the rail, but there's not much rail being built right now.
Yeah.
But we're studying right now in Tennessee some counties right now that are very interested in rail, and we've got a process going on right now to do that.
Those would be short
No, it would be, mostly short line.
One of the major concerns, and we've only got a minute to go here, is in safety.
Yep.
And particularly with the increasing shipment of oil and other volatile products. And I don't know how much you have to do with that. And you can imagine having a derailment here in Tullahoma with a thing running right through the middle of town. Well,
there is a safety program in Tennessee where we, Department of Safety, which comes under my committee, also inspects trucks, and you'll see them right here on I-24 on Interstate 24 in Coffee County, where they have a weigh station where the long haul trucks go through. They do have an inspection program they have to meet, so we are inspecting those trucks and weighing those trucks to make sure they're not over their weight limit. Because if they're over the weight limit, they do more damage on the roads. Okay. So we do have a program in place.
But safety for the rail is really not yours.
No, safety from the rail part is more federal, and they have a program.
They do. Okay, we're going to take your word for that. Folks, guess what? We have just run out of time. We of course, could take a lot more time to talk about this. It goes on, but we need to take a short commercial break and wrap up.
Imagine a world with more birthdays. We strive for it every day. We fight to get people the best access to care and the chance for more parties to plan. We're the American Cancer Society. Help create a world with more birthdays at morebirthdays.com.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
We're back, folks, and we've been talking transportation today, mostly roads and a little bit on the rail side. And our guest has been Senator Jim Tracy, who is the chairman of the Tennessee Senate Transportation Committee. It has been for several years and continues. Jim, you got a word you'd like to speak to the folks on?
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you for the invitation coming on today. I always enjoy talking transportation. For you folks at home that are watching this, if you have any questions about how we fund roads or how things are done, if you have any complaints about roads or questions about how the construction's been going, feel free to contact my office. The number is 615-741-1066. I'll be glad to check into it. Let me just say we're very proud of our roads in Tennessee. We're always ranked in the top 3 or 4 in the nation. We have no debt on our roads compared to the other states around us. So we think our roads are some of the best in the country, and we're proud of them. We're proud to, I'm proud to represent my district in the 14th district in Tennessee and keep us informed on any questions you have. Thank you for having me today.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you, Jim, for taking time to join us always, and you're very knowledgeable, and we appreciate your work. So with that, folks, want to thank you for inviting us into your parlor, and we will see you next time.